What's up, vapors? Thanks for checking out Daily Vape TV. My name is Nick, and it's Fresh Build Friday. That's right, it's that time of the week again where we get you ready for the weekend with a brand new coil build. I've got something of a rehash to do today. It's another fused clapton on the Mage RTA, but this time I'll be using Mad Rabbit Nichrome 80 wire. I have never used the Mad Rabbit wire before for fused claptons, so that's what I'm going to be using today. I picked it up at National Vape Expo. Sean, thank you very much. I really do appreciate everything you do for me, so shout out to you, Sean. Make sure you check out madrabbitwire.com if you want to pick some of this stuff up for yourself. So I did want to address something really quickly. A few of you have voiced your opinion on the fact that I don't build a brand new coil every single week, and yes, that is true. In fact, today I'm doing an identical coil build that I did a few months ago, and sometimes I do things like install pre-made coils and things like that. But really, what Fresh Build Friday is a way to show you guys what I will be vaping on over the next week or so. It kind of primes you up for my vlogs and that kind of thing, and it just shows you maybe new techniques or new camera angles and things like that you may not have seen in a previous Fresh Build Friday video. Honestly, one of my most viewed videos out there is a macro coil build that I did 2 years ago, and it still gets views to this day. So for that fact, I like to update my techniques every so often. Sometimes I just like a basic build in there, and sometimes I'm trying to do something very specific. So that's kind of why I do what I do. And yes, the pre-made coils are a thing. I just want to show you guys products that you may not have seen before, and it kind of primes you up on whether or not you may want to purchase those products for yourself. So there you go. That's my opinion on that matter. Take from that what you will, but let's get ready for this build. So grab your mod, grab your addy, your wick, your wire, your tools, all that good stuff. Let's go down to the close-up view and build it up. Alright guys, so as you can see here, we have our jig on one side with our spinners, and we have our drill on the other side. That's the type of rig that we're going to be using today, so follow along with me if you have something similar to this. I know everyone builds differently, so everyone's going to have a different kind of setup. Here is our wire. We have some Mad Rabbit wire, 26 and 36 gauge. That's what we're going to be using today. This is their Nichrome 80 wire. So we've tried the Nichrome 90, we've tried the stainless steel, now we're going to be trying out some Nichrome 80. Hence the point of this whole entire video. So first things first, we're just going to take a few feet of this 26 gauge here. I'm just going to find the end of the spool and just take a couple feet of this stuff, and that's what we're going to be using. I figure about 2 feet of wire, I suppose. Sure, we'll spin up 2 feet of wire, and we're just going to clip it off. Now I'm just going to put it in the chuck of my drill. On one end here, we'll use the one end that's already crimped, and there we go. And we just hold on to it with the other end of our pliers, and we straighten it out. So just spin up the drill for about 3 seconds or so. And just like that, we have some straight wire. I'm just going to take it back out of the chuck of the drill here. We have some pretty straight wire there, and what we're going to do now is put that through one of the ends of our spinners, and now we're going to just kind of try to find the halfway point. So I just match up the other end and put another 90-degree bend on it like that. That way, when we put it into the chuck of our drill once again, we have it nice and rock solid. It's not going to shift around or jump out of there or anything like that. So just grip onto that end of the wire, put it right in the chuck of the drill. And you'll notice how this end of the wire here is still kind of looped. So what we're going to do is just kind of take out the slack in it, and that's how we're going to find our middle point here. So just kind of straighten it like that. And there we go. We found our midpoint. And I'm just going to take my pliers and just kind of crimp it on that end just a little bit. Doesn't have to be, you know, perfect. The wire is going to kind of basically just tighten it up as it goes, but I like to have a good starting point there. So I'm actually going to just kind of shift that away. You guys really don't need to see the spinners, but you want to see the drill action going on over here. So now what we do is we take our 36 gauge and attach the end that's in the chuck of the drill. Do a few little manual wraps around there. Just a few to hold it on there when it's inside the chuck of the drill. And usually what I'll do is actually just kind of wrap it around one of these little legs that we put on here and wrap around the other one a little bit, so just so it maintains a lot of that tension, so it doesn't come flying out of the chuck of the drill when you're, you know, mid spool or anything like that. So just go ahead and reinsert that, tighten it up. And a few people I've seen, they don't actually do it like that, but you know what? Building is completely up to you. That's the best part about building, in my personal opinion there. It's really up to you how exactly you want to go about doing everything. You know, if you do a different technique than I do, it's not that you're wrong. It's just that's your technique. So more power to you. So now we're just going to take that piece of wire ready to go. Make sure to get it all nice and taut there. Make sure everything's looking good. And we're going to start off at a very slow speed, and then we'll work our way up. So voila, there we go. We have about a foot here of fused clapton wire using 26 and 36 gauge Nichrome 80. I didn't make any mistakes in this particular strand here, but if you do make a mistake, it's no big deal. All you have to do is just stop your drill, back it off a few inches, straighten the piece of wire out using your finger, and then start the drill again using a slower speed, just like you're starting out right at the beginning here. I usually look for a little bit of a difference in light. That means to me that I doubled over a wire somewhere, so that's when I immediately stop the drill and I just go back and fix it. Really, it's not a big deal. We got a really nice clean piece here, so that's what we're going to be using today. So let's go ahead and switch up the camera angle and let's get building. So here you go. Here we can see the strand that we came out with, and it's pretty darn good if I do say so myself. Not too many twists, not too many imperfections or anything like that. So here you can see we have our Mage RTA all ready to be built up. That's what we're going to be using today. But for now, I'm just going to move it out of the way, back off the camera real quick, and let's go ahead and get wrapping here. So today we'll be using a 3mm bit size. I have my Coil Master coil jig here ready to go. So we're just going to insert one end of this wire into that jig. Once you get that started, then you just take your pliers, and I've actually stopped kind of trying to get all the twists out of the wire while I spin it up. I just let it happen and then fix it afterwards. So what I'm doing here is just gripping it with my nylon pliers, just going around like this and pulling really tight on it. When you pull tight on it, it usually tends to get the minor little twists and imperfections out. If you come across like a big twist that's coming up here like next wrap, we'll get it out right when it's right over the bit. So right about there, you can see like a half twist. That's just kind of simply getting all the little minor flaws out of there. And the final product will look really, really nice, I guarantee it. So just lightly grip on there, but pull pretty tight so that you get all that little baby imperfections out. And today we're doing 7 wraps. I know it's going to be tight, but we're doing 7 wraps. That's what worked for me in the past, so that's what we're going to continue on doing here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we're good with 1 coil here. So I'm just going to go ahead and snip this off and repeat that process again. So there we go, we have a matching set of coils, and they came out pretty good. A few little minor gaps in there, which I could have used a little bit more tension when I was spooling up that wire, but other than that, I think they look pretty good. I think they'll work just fine. So let's go ahead, bring in our mod real quick, and we'll get building here. So here we can see the Mage RTA all ready to be built here, so I'm just going to angle those posts towards me and get going here. So first things first, you just want to thread it through those holes, making sure you got plenty of room there, and make sure that it gets right up next to those posts. You're going to want to get this, especially with a 3mm bit size, right up next to those posts, very similar to how you build your velocity or something similar to that. Once you get it close to the post, make sure you tighten down one of the leads. So I'm just going to tighten down this lead right here. Once that's good and tight, you want to reinsert your bit back through, and I'm actually going to do it this way. Grab your pliers and give it a good yank. So once you've pulled that lead all the way through, now what you want to do is just kind of hold that coil there while you tighten it down like so. That way it does not move back or get loose or anything like that. You want this as close to the post as possible. So just leaving it like that will do for now. We'll fix it up in a little bit. Next step, just trim off those leads. While you have the room here, we're just going to trim off the excess wire like so. Watch your eyes when you do this. Here we go. And we're looking pretty good. So we're just going to go ahead and repeat that process for coil number 2. And just like that, we have 2 coils installed. So next step is just kind of straightening out those leads a little bit, lifting up those coils so it doesn't hit the airflow control. And this step is a little bit difficult sometimes because you got to get those tools all the way back through there, and these leads are extremely tight. So just kind of use a little bit of force in there, you know, use your backbone, all that good stuff. Get some elbow grease on there. I don't know, I'm just trying to use idioms here. So there we go, we have our leads all set. Now let's go ahead and turn our mod on here. We're going to lower the wattage down so we don't, you know, instantly scorch our coils or anything like that. I'm going to be starting at around 50 watts. Just go ahead and grab your ceramic tweezers and start pulse firing these coils while pinching. I usually like to pinch my coils just to keep them nice and tight when we get some heat on them. And do both sides here. And you can really feel it when you have the pressure on there. The coil just kind of shrinks up a little bit. It's the strangest kind of feeling, but it's pretty cool how it does that, you know, how the metal reacts to the heat. So just gently pulse fire, start brushing your coils a little bit. You know, if you're obsessed with the color shot, then, you know, take your camera out and get your color shot and all that stuff. Personally, I really don't care about pictures. I just want to build and I want to vape. So just keep repeating this process basically until those coils glow nice and evenly. So there we go. I think we have the coils all set, so I'm just going to go ahead and take my cotton. I'm just ripping half a sheet of organic Japanese cotton, and that's what we're going to be using today. It's going to take a lot of effort and a lot of time and a lot of practice to get this thing down as far as wicking is concerned. You really just got to be very patient with it and just kind of work on it a little bit. And I kind of get the gist of how much cotton this thing actually needs, and there's just a certain style that you're going to have to wick it like. And a lot of you actually didn't like the style that I used in my last Mage build video, but you know what? It worked really well for me, so that's how I'm going to do it again. A few of you basically had told me to pull the cotton through the chimney, and that's very similar to how you would wick like a Kanger rebuildable deck, but honestly I don't know if that's going to do it for me personally. Not only does it not really look right to me, but I feel like it might end up not having enough cotton in there, so I'm just going to do it my style. Feel free to wick this thing however you guys want though. If you guys have a different technique or a different style, you know, first of all, drop it in the comments below. I mean, I'm down for constructive criticism. If you guys have mages yourself and you want to let me know how you build it, of course I'm down to learn. You know, I'm always down to learn, but you know, just keep it civil. If you do something one way and I do something a different way, doesn't mean you're wrong or I'm wrong. It just means that we're two different people and that's how we build. So this is how I do it. So first of all, I just pull the wicks through like I normally do. Then I just take my chimney and I just kind of press it over. When I press it over, it kind of leaves like an indentation. So I actually just chop off all this excess cotton, and that's just kind of just a rough cut. What I do is just chop it all off like that, and then I'll go around with a little bit more finesse and I'll just kind of trim it up a little bit more smoothly, just kind of keeping the pressure on the top cap there. This is basically like the bowl cut for the Mage. If you've tried this wicking technique, let me know how it worked out. I'd really love to know some feedback. I'd like to know if you guys try these builds out for yourself or you just, you know, want to watch how I struggle with it. But now, next up, what I do is just kind of fluff it up just like my normal RDAs and stuff like that. I'll just fluff it up and kind of thin it out a little bit. Not too much because you want those pads to be nice and thick on the ends because it has to block off the juice flow going into the chamber. So you want it to be somewhat thick. But I do end up taking off a few of the fibers like that. And then you just kind of go around, give it a little bit of a trim. Just be careful not to take any you know, excess off that you don't want to, because then you'll have to start all over with your wicking, and that's no fun having to start over there. So there we go. you just blow off a little of the excess there, make sure it maintains that good amount of fluffiness. I like a good fluffy wick. So just go ahead and place the cap back over again, lining up your registration marks, and then I just kind of tuck it under. Sometimes I find that if it's not enough cotton, or if it's too much cotton rather, then I have to start over again, or just trim a little bit more off. But usually I can get it down to where I can get it just right on the inside of that deck, and it goes right over with the chimney, and I'm good to go. Sometimes I just go around again, and I just keep snipping off excess until it fits properly. I did the same kind of thing with my tornado tank, and that worked out really well for me. So that's kind of why I did this style wicking technique with this tank here. It's very, very similar in build style. So the final little touch on this technique here is you stick your tweezers back through this part here and just kind of work the cotton around. That way it plugs up those holes so you don't get any sort of leaking. And you can even use your little tiny tweezers if you have some of these really sharp tweezers like this. You can kind of get in there a little bit easier to manipulate that cotton. Basically, if you look at it from the chimney side, to the upper part of the chimney, you don't want to see any light through those holes there. You want to make sure this is fully blocked off. That way you're not going to have a big leaky mess of a tank, and that's no fun for anybody, because then once again you have to start over. Starting over sucks. I can definitely attribute, I can definitely say that I've done that more than a few times, even while recording. It's no fun, and it kind of just sets you back and makes you feel like you suck at building. But just keep persistent, keep it going, and you'll be fine. Honestly, I find that the more times I do something, the more tips and tricks I pick up. So I like learning new things. I like experimenting. I like being able to fail. You have to just, fail. If you're going to fail upward. That's what I always say. Just learn something every time you make a mistake. That way, the next time you do it, you're not going to make that same mistake. So just kind of play around with the cotton in here until it plugs up that hole properly, and you should be in good shape. And it looks like we're doing pretty good here. I don't see any light anymore from the top down. So let's go ahead and give it some juice. All right, so it's good and juiced. Let's give it a quick test fire without the tank on it. That's what I like to see right there. All right, tank's all filled up. Let's go ahead and see how she vapes. Beautiful. Let's go back to the main screen, have a quick vape on this thing, and we'll talk about it some more. Alright guys, welcome back. Now we're going to talk about this build that we just did in a little bit more detail. So first of all, my first category is the heat. Since I have done this build before, I kind of am familiar with how this thing works. I'm vaping it right now at 94 watts. The overall resistance came out to 0.18 ohms, so it's pretty low. The volts that I'm rocking right now are 4.11. I feel like I could do this a little bit over 100 watts, but I kind of want to keep it on the cooler side just to kind of save myself more than anything. But anyways, the heat on this build right now is tolerable. It's really nice, and it's not too hot, not too cool. It's right there in the middle. If I bump it up over 100 watts, it's definitely going to be a little bit on the warmer side. But since this chamber is so small and the airflow only hits like the direct middle of that coil, I want to keep it on the cooler side just to keep my cotton a little bit more fresh, hopefully. I guess that's the name of the game. But anyways, moving on to my second topic, which is, of course, the ramp up and ramp down time. At this wattage that I'm at now, I do get a little bit of ramp up time, about a full second or so before it fully kind of gives me the full on draw that I'm used to. But the ramp down time is really short, which is I like that fact a lot, because most of the time with a reduced chamber, you tend to get a lot more residual heat. This one here maybe sizzles for about a second or so, then it's gone. So that's definitely a plus in my book, and let's go ahead and test that out once again. I'm going to have a quick vape here. So yeah, maybe about a second or two of ramp down time, but it's overall not so bad in my opinion. So which brings me to my next point, which is the difficulty of this build. Now, I absolutely love the fuse claptons. Do yourself a favor, copy my technique or come up with your own and learn how to build fuse clapton wire. Fuse clapton wire is the epitome of coil in my opinion. It's relatively easy to learn and to build, and it just adds another dimension of, building technique, and as far as flavor is concerned, it It has the best flavor I've ever tried. So that is, to me personally, the epitome of all coils. I absolutely love the Fuse Clapton. So do yourself a favor, either get yourself a jig like I have or a Clapton coil jig rig like I have, and learn how to do Fuse Clapton coils. They are the best. I feel like you're going to get better flavor than a standard Clapton or a standard round wire build. Just seriously, do yourself a favor, learn Fuse Claptons, and thank me later. And my final topic, which you've all been waiting for, is the flavor on this build. I am vaping some Vape Peach Lemonade. I got this sent to me a few days ago when I got back from Northeast Vape Expo. I had a package waiting for me, so thanks, Kelly. I really do appreciate it. But anyways, the flavor on it is top notch. It's a very natural tasting peach, and that lemonade kind of sweetness and tartness comes right through. Like I just said, the Fuse Clapton coil is just so good for flavor. It's absolutely amazing for flavor. So seriously, do yourself a favor and get the flavor with the Fuse Clapton coils. Hey! Anyways, guys, that about does it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more videos just like this. Make sure you leave me comments in the box below of what you think of this build, whether or not you want to try it out for yourself, or if you do try it, let me know how it works out for you. I really want to get some constructive criticism going on my wicking technique. Seriously, if you guys try this out for yourself, let me know how it goes. Also, check out the advocacy links in the description down there. This is the time to fight. This is the time to stand up. So I've got them down there for you so you can fight for your right to vape. And check me out on all my different social medias. I have Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you follow me on there. Like my page on Facebook. Check out my Snapchat. And if you want to give me a couple of bucks on Patreon, that would be awesome as well. So thank you guys all for watching. You guys are the best. And as always, vape on!